actually catch this now and give you the link to it because the system's just crashed out again. Maybe I'll try a different phone just in case it's the phone, but I don't think it's the phone. Your videos. Just give me a second here. It's not even listed as live yet at this point in time. Public, publish. So get the stream live. And I shall get a link to it, hopefully before the other stream finishes. Come on. Come on. Takes a while sometimes. It takes even longer when you're desperately trying to get the stream back up and running. Hopefully this has gone out in time. I shall put the link back there again. I shall also go down into the comments. Can I go into the comments? No, I can't. Okay, lovely. I'll refresh that page. Just bear with me one moment. This is the third time I've had a crash on the stream. Down to comments, add a comment. New stream. Okay, there's a new stream. Right. And then I'll go back to the main one. And you should all be joining me back here. Yeah, sorry about that. I posted the link in chat, but I also posted the link in the comments of the previous video, but it did what it did before. I'll just straighten the camera up here. It did what it did before, and I basically just reset to the YouTube homepage. Not sure what's causing that. The new stream is in glorious supervision. Try refreshing to get your thing. Oh, they redo the live reminder, indeed. Check it, the stream is live. The little red dot is active down here, because otherwise we might be along there. The little live dot. You look stressed as if a bulb has blown the tattoo. I had bad dreams yesterday. Oh, weird dreams. Thank you, Slownick. I was working with a co-worker from a theatre company on the location of the tattoo, but I was working with Hussman. And in the dream, it was loads of new Hussman electronic modules, with no data on them, just really weird electronic modules. As happens, people who work in the maintenance industry will know what I'm talking about when you get the undocumented electronic modules. And if you touch a button on them, that's like bad news. It can go into programming mode and that's it, screwed forever. And in the dream, I was changing a power feed into a control module and then decided to switch it back again because I suddenly realized there's a problem with that, and then got the wires mixed up, and that's also a nightmare. Take lots of pictures. When you do a live stream with your two bearded friends, adds the Manx Beard Club, I'm not really sure when the next one's going to be. Was it YouTube crashed around the Chromebook? It was running on Android. It went straight back to the YouTube app, went straight back. It glitched out and went straight back to its app homepage. Your hat is on backwards, Clive. What? I don't know what happened. The phone was rebooted prior to this stream, and it's the only app that was open on the phone was YouTube. I wonder if there's a bug in it. Isn't it Jaeger time? No, it's not. It's Woofle time. Hopefully Liz got the memo, because it is time for a woofle. Woofling. And again. Woofling. Woofles. Your pocket fireball generator. I thought you photoshopped the moustache away. No, it's much easier to do it for real. Have you sprayed the coving behind Bluetooth silver, or is that soot? That is soot. Yes, it is soot, actually. It just seems to have attracted it into that corner. Or is it shadows? It might be shadows, actually. Yeah, but there's a bit of soot involved in that. It's fine. YouTube crashes my old tablet fairly often, usually when trying to load ads. YouTube news software is buggy, especially sound. It's maybe just glitches. I do use a Chromebook, but I'm only watching the video playback on the Chromebook. It's coming out, it's being streamed from an Android phone. The entire work I did on my website was done entirely on the Chromebook using a text editor that recognized HTML, the default text editor for Chrome. It was very good. It didn't have any real major problems dealing with the website adjustment. Jungus Buffonius, the 1 litre Jim Beam has died. Hopefully not in one night. Chris Hartley, it's okay there. You can relive the woofle. YouTube gets the ads and it just freezes all my phones all the time. Rudy B, fire is still involved regularly on the half hour. How do you stream something, Kevin Harst? It's all done through the YouTube app. You can set it up in the app. It's called Go Live, but it says go live now, but you're not going to go live now. When you set it up, you can set a later time. Nice yet to see one of those Chromebooks. They're very common in the UK, Jonas, because they're used in the education industry as a very affordable computer that is largely resilient to viruses because it is just a Chrome browser on a laptop without an operating system as such, although it can run Linux and it can run Android apps natively. However, the main thing is that it's very secure, very fast boot up. And it's fast and rock solid. It's just really good, even a low power system. It can be really quick to go live though. You can 45 RPM. You can go live right there and then on YouTube. You can just say go live now, and just if you've got all default settings, it will. No foam in the moustache for a while. No. Well, not till next week. Have you enabled the live CC? I've not enabled the chat replay on this particular stream. Maybe do that afterwards. Can you do a video on how to be a YouTube millionaire just like you? Well, once I become a YouTube millionaire, I could possibly do that, Minky Mutu. But to be honest, the way it looks is that you just basically accept all the advertising and just do really clickbaity videos, apparently. We don't use Windows, says Linus. Does Linus not use Windows at all? I regard it as a very insecure platform. In a recent update on my security, I removed access to my Google accounts from both my Windows systems just because I don't trust Windows. Microsoft software at all. It is basically bug-riddled. Graham Rule, I bought a new Chromebook recently, quite nice as long as you don't mind Google watching everything. You just have to sign your life away if you go onto the Google system. That is true, you just have to accept that. The same, I did enjoy OK Google for a while, and I really liked the fact you could answer super deep technical questions correctly. But it is listening in the background, and occasionally I just basically say ranty things and it heard me. Didn't like that. Going to snitch you into the government. I don't think they would. I don't think Google's a friend of the government. Force a cache clear. I should perhaps just check the cache and the... I clear the cache on the Chromebook every so often. Fake Windows screensaver files are what's been getting people pwned. Yes, James Randolph. The ones with the character reversal at the end, it's quite clever. I've always been very coy about being sent files to double check stuff like that. But also it helps that anything really important is usually done in the Chromebook. You don't like Windows, explains the dark room, Paul T. That's another thing when I moved here. This is at ground level because it's a bungalow. I did not like the windows at ground level. It felt so insecure at night. Even though it's unlikely people would be peering in at me through the windows. Compared to a flat up high in Glasgow that people couldn't, it just felt less secure. You set it before, did I actually set it off? Chromebook doesn't get hot. This one is stone cold. The battery lasts just a phenomenal amount of time because it is mostly battery inside. And it stays cool because it's not powerful. Yeah, Dave, I saw that video that you got the fake multimeter order. Yeah. Ring will give the cops your videos, really. I'd never have an Amazon listening device in my house at all. I don't trust Amazon at all. There's Microsoft and Amazon, two companies I don't trust. Have you done a deep cache clean your phones? I've not. I've never really thought of it as being a dedicated area of the phone, the cache. I always thought it was separate cache for each app. Don't know, Nightshade Linar. Maybe we should refresh the phone completely, put it back to factory settings, because this phone is used almost exclusively for streaming. Chromebooks are basically large phones with huge bats. They are, Monkey Man here. And big screens. This one's a 15.6 inch screen. It's hard finding the ones with really big screens, but I just prefer a bit of screen. Something you can look at comfortably without peering up really closely. There are 622 people peering at you right now. That's fine. I don't mind you guys because while some of you may be a bit creepy, the majority of you are just technical family. People I'd hang out with at the pub, so it's fine. Thank you, Squeak. All hail the algorithm. Save the electrolytes. And thank you, AAG24. Much appreciated. It's invited peering. Yes. Minky Mutu, a bit creepy. Yeah, Minky Mutu. Yeah. It says 640 me. It is 641 at the moment, apparently. It's usually about 1,000. It's quite quiet this week. Something must be happening. Either that or I scared everybody off the picture. Anyway, let's plug in some gadgets that I featured earlier on the stream, but you may not have seen them. One is a video that's coming out soon. It's a build video. And it is this special light. You see it wavering up and down intensity as it stabilizes. I'll let it stabilize a bit. Verdewolf, I'm just a creep. Well, what's your definition of creep is the question. All the people tuning in to nap got left behind. That's true, Luxor Labs. What's wrong with being creepy? Nothing, Broxy. I spent the afternoon dissolving polystyrene into a bucket of petrol. Now I have a bucket half full of styrene petrol gloopy snot. That's napalm. Substitute mouse. That's a very odd thing to do. What are you doing, mouse? Are you going to be putting it in bottles of rags? Anyway, here is the new project. It's the supercomputer light bulb. It runs directly at mains. It's only about 1.3 watts. It just swamps out there, doesn't it? It does swamp out there. But it's quite neat. No, it's not. It's a big pink microphone. Bank holiday, all the Brits getting pished. Oh, is it bank holiday? That's true. Nothing at Uncle Kim, or as we like to call him these days, Arthur Two Sheds Jackson. It does look a bit like a Starship engine. The next, 2 bank holidays in a row, yeah, that is true. The next thing is actually a project. Let me just plug it in. I'll set this here. I'll put the cap on and plug it in. It's a evolution of the HEPA filter project I did, the cylindrical HEPA filter that the fan sat on top. It's a universal script. You'll find it in the description down below that lets you make a blanking plate for one end and a fan plate for the other. And it's got a 12-volt jack connector on it, and it uses a standard Dyson replacement filter, which is very commonly available on eBay for about £12–13 in the UK. And this one is the outer coarse mesh, the inner pleated paper, and then it's got theoretically a carbon filter on the inside. And it also had too much polystyrene than should fit in the bin. That's a good idea, actually. But you do realize you're making something quite naughty by doing that. If I turn the light off, it does glow as well. It glows blue, just because, well, I could make it glow blue. Because it wasn't that hard just to add that little extra LED. It's just a single LED that makes it glow very gently in the background. Watch your eyes, the light is coming back. Ziam says, I purchased a couple of HEPA filters today for making some of these, for building some. The one slight downside, I couldn't quite fit the 12 centimetre, the 120 millimetre fan. I wanted to use the bigger one, but it's fine. So this is using a P8, Arctic P8 fan. The P8 is optimised for higher pressure, and I can feel the air flowing through it just between the fingers. It's not going to be as powerful as a Dyson fan, but it's quieter, and it just sits in the background. It will put quite a bit of air through. So in basically your bedroom, it's going to keep purifying the air all day. And can be left running continuously. Coming late tonight, we do another hour. No, we cannot. I have tasks to do, experiments to do. I think we missed a whiffle. We did not miss a whiffle, Monkey Man here. Polystyrene dissolved in gasoline, petrol, is supposedly napalm in the sort of terrorist cookbook type things. I'm not sure it really works that well, but it's supposed to be sticky and flammable. It seems like a waste of petrol now. I hope you're going to make big smoky fireballs out of it. Arctic P12 is really good for static pressure. Got 5 of them in a NAS. I used that in the original filter. Maybe I'll make an adapter for that for this one. I could just adapt the existing script from then. Thank you, Kevin Keating, much appreciated. Do you know of a suitable substitute for the discontinued RS Components resistor crimp tool that is still available? Thank you for the great content. The resistor crimp tool? Do you mean the lead shaper? Let me just grab what I think you're talking about. I'm not sure. Is this the one you're talking about? They occasionally appear on eBay. These are component lead formers that crop and bend component leads. Let me grab a suitable resistor. Let's grab one of them. You place a resistor in, like this, just going to get it sat in, and then when you squeeze the trigger, it crops the leads and folds them up. So when you release it again, you have a resistor that is cropped to size and the leads are formed. I don't know of a tool like this being standardly available these days, but you can get little forming blocks that you sit the resistors in to specific positions and then fold them round. You can buy them on eBay. It is very cool, but you know, where I wish, because I basically, when I was making the fairground controls and stuff, it'd be crimp load. You can't put them in the bandolier, it just snags up. So it'd be crimp for hours to the point that the fingers were a bit achy. Hold on. The machine I really wanted is over here. Got this one off eBay for a steal. You load the bandolier in here, and then you just turn the handle and it smashes the components through. It crops and bends them as you turn the handle. And you can set all the parameters on top. Takes a bit of setting up. You will destroy several hundreds of resistors in the process, but once it's all fine-tuned, it's fast. Oh, how I wish I had one of those in the past, but they were totally unaffordable because they were so specialist. The weasel does pop up after a while. You put your fingers in, yes. It could make pasta. I'm not going to demonstrate it now because it's messy. It pings the leads out. How in the world does that bend them all at the same time? It goes over a wheel. It's got little teeth that takes it over a wheel that I think it crops them initially and then bends them over as it goes over, and then it drops them into a bucket down below and the leads drop out. The leads are actually left in the bandolier and they shoot out the front. Where do those leads go? Keyboard. I was just thinking that. Yes, there's one of them. Yeah. That was the downside of that other tool. It does tend to ping the leads everywhere. What value was that resistor? Can't read that. Blue, grey, red. So 8.2, 6.8K should I say. Magic, what? Clive's house, a 4-foot tall pile of LED bulbs in the corner like a pile of discarded cigarette packs in a SWAT. A squad? Oh, right, okay. I've got boxes for the bulbs, but there is a huge mess. Those hand crank ones still used in industry, we have 2 or 3. They save so much time. You can also put in bandoliered links and it'll put them through. You buy the resistors in bandolier boxes. $270. Used to buy my components in massive quantities while manufacturing. I'd put a Link Basic 120mm 240V server fan in the filter. I prefer the low voltage fans. Scrolling. A 3D printed version that wouldn't be easy to make. You might have to add blades to it for that, like pencil sharpener blades if they're still available. Bonsoir, nuts and proud. Are you okay? You seem a little off. I'm fine, thank you, Ray McLeod, but the moustache is off indeed. Blow that epoxy resistor up. That would take a bit to blow up. Missed a super chat? I don't know if I missed a super chat. Hold on. It's scrolling. I don't think so. Scroll back down. Need a Karen reference this half hour. Karens, yes. What was I thinking of recently about lead? And how its removal actually had effects. Oh, it was connectors. Some were saying they're having endless problems with connectors now, with the tinned contacts. Because I think it's fretting, they call it. Where the actual contact makes connection on it, maybe because it's more brittle, and less malleable than the lead, they're getting major pitting problems in connectors now. It seems to be catching up. Don't know if that's just one-off. You guys will be able to tell that. Excuse me. Did Nigel Mansell steal the moustache? Does he steal an island? I don't know. The word bandolier triggers all the war veterans indeed. Zayam, I managed to spot a discarded flashing vape. It's good because if it's flashing, it usually means water's getting and it's triggering it. But it does mean the battery's still capable of flashing the LED, which means it's got a decent charge in it still. 240 would do it. It would, yes. But that would also take out power of the stream. I'll try and put the open end down the way, shall I? Gazros, why did you shave the stash? It was getting my mouth with food, so I just thought it's easiest just to shave it off, and then it'll start growing again. There'll be a moustache there next week. It just gets a bit long at times. Scrolling. I've not done an EIC rant yet. That is true. Yes, I have this problem in pinballs that were made last year, says Squeak. It's annoying. A friend sent me pictures, and where the contacts touched the pins, it was definite little black dots. And pitting. Even though have I missed much American Vapor? Not a lot. You've missed the first stream that blew up. Do you have a country straw hat to go with the chin whiskers, Rick's Radviz? I've got my Australian Burma hat to go with them. But the microphone is up there. I'm not sure. Does it affect the audio much when I wear the Burma hat? It's just they just basically said, let's ban lead without actually understanding its purpose in so many things. So you guys have not been experiencing clipped. Oh, right, okay. No effect in sound. Thank you, Jeff. Much appreciated. Maybe slightly. So this is below the microphone, above the microphone, below the microphone. Makes you sound Aussie. Reasonable enough, Ronnie McLeod. It makes them more Dutch. The hat is a Burma hat. It's a collapsible Burma hat. Ventilated, it's Australian. I bought it in Melbourne, in Australia, along with a pair of overalls. It does complete the Amish look. How many cows died to make your hat? Not many, because it's not, I don't even know if it is actually leather. Don't know. And this is mesh, so that's definitely not made of cow. It is not the type that has corks. You can get the versions with corks. No snaps the sides or wind. Oh, it did have a cord. It did have a cord that passed round it for wind. Pretty sure it had a cord and I took it off. Not sure. Can't remember. The main thing about this is that when you put it in your luggage, you can squish it flat like that. You can literally just fold it up. It's designed for traveling. It's designed to be squashed flat. And then it just basically pops back out again and it's your hat again. It is completely squishable. I've eaten chips this week. I had chips today. I went to the local bowling alley, 10-pin bowling alley, and had what they call a mucky cow. I have to be careful not to say a dirty cow. Mucky cow, in their definition, is chips with chili on them and a bit of cream, sour cream, and then the sliced peppers. I like what engineers wear overall. Indeed, Tony Peters' old stuff. Overalls are good. Cambridge Mark, but that was you that farted onto it, the smell was. My grandfather was an electrical engineer for Picker X-ray and worked every day with lead solder and died at the age of 96. Yeah. Jonathan Hughes. I know lots of really old people. Most people I know who are technical are not showing any signs of lead poisoning. I've been working with lead solder for a long time. I don't eat it. I don't get this too much. And I honestly don't think that a circuit board buried in landfill, I don't think the lead's going to dissolve instantly into the ground. There's also claims that lead glass is dangerous because the lead can leach out the glass. We've covered this in the previous stream. I'm not convinced this is a hazard. The hat is made from koalas, good, because it's what they deserved. Is it rue leather? I need overalls to complete the Amish look. Well, I've got plenty of overalls, Weasel Box, but not genuine Amish overalls, although it was mentioned earlier on that I do have a pair of overalls I bought from a Mennonite shop in America. It's kind of like the Amish, but more laid back. I think the Amish are all laid back these days. The brim blocks a lot of sound, Megavolt Meister. I shall take it back off then. Mesh is so 80s it's needed for ventilation because my head gets hot. Even my baseball cap has mesh just to let the smoke out. It could be made out of Karens. The hat shop in Flinders Street. Matthew Lewington. It was a Victoria Market I bought it at. Amish look needs blackbeards. Do they all have black? I don't think they all have blackbeards. I'm sure I've seen ginger-bearded Amish. Crusher NL. Aussies are the friendliest people on earth. Fact, Pool Paul says. Not totally convinced about that. The most officious and political government that I've come across. Crocodile, Clive. It could be crocodile. There's ginger Amish, indeed. Well, the sound just went up. Did it go up? Excellent. Buggery can hurt your back, Mr. Eggcake says. Can it? I don't know. I thought you meant buggy can hurt your back, as in like they're horse-drawn buggies. That would probably happen. The galloping brim in the wind was very annoying. It was fine on a typical day. It kept the rain off, but when it was really windy, the rim would actually flap up and down forcibly. That was quite disturbing. Steam Wraith, been many a month since I've caught a live stream, even a Patreon one. Well, the Patreon ones are every week on a Thursday. Well, Thursday where I am. Jaeger. This time then, as requested, it is to Colin Thomas, who passed at work, which is the worst place to pass. Technical person, Colin Thomas, who passed at Tobermoor Concrete. I wonder what happened. That's ghoulish to wonder what happened. But to Colin. Work is not a good place to die. What time on Thursdays, Clive? Same time. It's a standardised start time. I'm not sure if it's the ideal start time for everybody. But the reality is that it's kind of hard finding a common slot to the main countries that watch this, which is America and the UK are the main audience, I think. To be honest, I'd rather die on the job, says Squeak. I've been, let's say, out of the world for the last little while. Slowly come back to reality. I suppose Uncle Clive getting better now. Stephen Wraith. Well, this is good that things are getting back to normal for you. It is Jaeger this week, Gazareth. I procured a bottle today. complete with an inflated price on the shelf with amazing discount and the normal price. Say something American. Well, I'm not really sure what I could say is American. My dad saw a lot of his co-workers killed in oil rigs, Ravenlin. See, that's odd. The steelworks were apparently dangerous. Apparently people died at the steelworks, and I used to get paid danger money, but I never saw anybody die at the steelworks. Aluminum. Aluminum tinfoil. Yes, as opposed to aluminium. If I die in the job, I get paid double, says Joe Mitchell-Tree. Well, that's not worth it. We'll go to past today, and we'll end on a whiffle. How does that sound? Is that the invisible man behind you? Yes. There are a few videos of people falling into steel crucibles. See, how do you do that, redneck atheist? I can understand a steam pocket blowing, with water gets into the furnace, blowing metal out unexpectedly. But actually falling into a crucible is just odd. If I die in the job, I die happy, says Franco Walker. Are we talking technical or are we talking sex? I don't really know. Oh, Tommy Cooper, absolutely. The audience thought it was part of the act. They're all cheering and laughing when he just keeled over and died. They thought he was just playing it up. It's crazy when they blow up. It is, yes. My favourite of the furnaces were the arc furnaces. They just sounded just... If you've heard bass in a nightclub, the arc furnaces were just spectacular. They were so gut-rippingly loud. It was like really 50 hertzy waves blasting like lightning. It was really great. Loved them. Did you have to go underground? There were underground tunnels in the steelworks. I've had a lead explosion, such fun, gone as a great. All it takes is a little bit of Watchkid and it just blows up. I saw a guy get his leg took off at a caterpillar plant thing, it killed him. Big machines, Gazarus, one false move and that's it. Mouse says, the local specialist burns unit shut down about 15 years ago simply because heavy industry has got so much safer now and is just not needed anymore. That's reasonable enough. Oh, they were Chinese steel mills. So they'd have been, and think of the Indian ones as well, where there's no safety. The steelworks, particularly Reims, Craig, notably, it had a big underground labyrinth of tunnels. It was quite nice, actually. And you could almost live down there. I got my homemade Arduino DJ MIDI controller today. That's proud, interesting. Top Smoke, my first job was in a steel foundry, great place to earn. I loved the steelworks. My apprenticeship started, first day, Glengarnock Steelworks and many others. Have you dealt with Radwell International? Not familiar with them. Simple Electronics. I was in the same building when several people were hurt by a wave sewing machine that blew up. Walter must have entered it somewhere, Mike. I wonder if someone put it in as a joke or something. I'm not really sure. Rifleman, I used to stand and watch the arc furnace just to feel the heat and listen to the sound. Absolutely. Another thing, next to arc furnaces, this is Craig Nuke Steelworks. They had all these ingots that were vertical ingots that were basically cooling, and they were just laid out in a grid. And when you walked into the grid of these, maybe you weren't supposed to do that, I don't know. You could feel the heat radiating from some of them, and some of them were so hot that you couldn't go near them. And technically speaking, if there were enough of them, you could make a heat maze that if you went the wrong route, you'd, that wouldn't be good. Have Have you seen the India machine shop videos? Oh yes, they're impressive, but safety is lacking. Yeah, the flip-flops and everything, absolutely, and things going wrong. Do they use carbon electrodes? I think they are carbon. It's really massively high voltage they use. Unexpectedly high voltage. I thought it'd be high voltage, low current, but because of the scale, it's actually quite high voltage, high current. Is it graphite electrodes they used? Can't remember. It's a long time ago. I never really took too much of an interest in the electrodes themselves. But the actual, when you walked through the actual control rooms for those things, it was just basically, you might as well have been a substation. Big Gay Steelworks, indeed, Mr. Eggcake. Oh, there were plenty of people there that were suspicious. Me for a start. It was very manly. The rolling mills for steel were something you kept an eye on. I liked the rolling mills. I liked the bit that the end that it rolled the metal up into a coil at the end. It was so loud. Model Dash Brush, a local steel foundry had a hidden X-ray machine that was more powerful than a hospital, unknown to the authorities. Well, they just don't need to know, do they? And to be honest, health and safety aren't going to come in because they don't like getting their hands dirty. Good. Are any of your fairground controllers still in use? Probably, Oliver Dawson. Probably in Britain and America, but everybody's gone to the colour-changing LED, the addressable ones now. I don't really know. Don't even know if my strobes are still working. It's a long time ago. Carbon electrodes and yes, its own substation, Rifleman. There was a main substation that fed all that ones. The reason I smiled there is there was a button and they said, do not ever touch that button. It shuts down the whole steelworks. I couldn't resist. I just touched the surface just because they were all panicking because I said, I'm not going to press it. And they were just, don't touch it. Cables that were so big you didn't really realize you were standing in cables. They were huge. They were more like drain pipes. The cat was always getting blasted with the gamma at the foundry, of course. That's not great, Top Smoke. The cat would just not really... It would go in through the channels that, well, people wouldn't go in. It would go through the gamma. Yeah, that's not great. I remember the cats at Steelworks. They were so nice. Craig Nuke Steelworks comes to mind. Clyde Alloy. The blacksmith there, because the Steelworks had blacksmiths who made the tools, because you get through a lot of the specialist tools for handling the steels. And every lunchtime, this big, tall blacksmith guy with a moustache, remember that bit? Quite handsome. All the cats would be in there, A, for their dinner, and B, so they could all just form a big circle around his forge and just get a heat off it. They were so cute. 4-wire LED says nuts and proud. That could either be the RGB LEDs or the addressable RGB, the standard ones. Is it time for a live beard trim? Not yet, Cooking with Cows. Why aren't you shot again by the military to there is great to shot? Why aren't you shot again by the military to there is great to shot? I've filmed stuff for Cisco Lima, but I've not released it. I released loads of little snippets at the last Military Tattoo backstage on a daily basis to the patrons just because they weren't suitable for releasing as a full video. They were just tiny little snippets and I couldn't actually release some of it to the public at that time because it was showing stuff that couldn't be shared too widely. It was the content of the show before it had started. But I do have it all still on the phone. I should compile it, but some of it triggered music problems. And I'm fucked if I'm putting up a video that I spent a lot of time making just so some music company can claim all the rights of it and all the cash. Still strobing. What? I know, it's been an electric arc furnace, but it wasn't running at the time. Had my hands on electrodes. They're basically pencil leads that are 15-inch thick. Main substation, indeed, Rory McLeod. Their main feed from the grid. And then, it was covered a large area. And there were other substations. The main substation switched power to other substations. With an arc furnace, you can't really just run 240, 415 to it. It has to be high voltage for the amount of power. It basically has a substation built in. It's a lot of power. Monkey Man here's out of coffee. Get more coffee. Just stop the video with you narrating it. It could just be silent, that bit. It's just I might just leave that bit out. Or have it silent. It's so odd. It would actually probably have resulted in sales for the particular track involved. It's a band you'll never have heard of. So, oh well. I guess they don't get the publicity then. Have you seen the photos of the Penisberg from Canada? I have not. Big tall guy, Mr. Eggcake, yes. Tall and quite thin, actually. I went in at lunchtime often just to see the kitties, but also to see the blacksmith. Just to look from a distance. I was still very closeted at that point in time. China reckons my cat just puked. They sometimes do that. Sometimes little Hutchie pukes. But the area she pukes in out there is, it's when she's eaten too much because she can't resist and everybody's feeding her. And there's a wee, pool of cat biscuits. She gets plenty of water. But I just lift that tile and flip it outside into the bushes. Scrolling down. Jocko Milk. I've worked in an aluminium smelt plant. The power smelting cell was only 4.5 volts, but 1,000 amps. Really? Are you sure about that? Not convinced about that. Dunno. Definitely could be high current though. You're behind. I am behind. I'm catching up. Simple Electronics saying, deep in the dark side and love it. 4.5 kV. I don't think it'd be that because it is aluminium after all and it's got a fairly low resistance. I'm not really sure. But 4.5 volts sounds way too low. It's going to have major resistance issues. Unless it had high voltage to initiate the arc. Not sure. For obvious reasons, I never went into one and measured the voltage of the steel ones. Blacksmith is nice looking. Yes, Mr. Eggcake, he was. Are you single? Ask your friend. Yes, I'm single and staying that way, purple grey skies. Not a person to marry, male or female. What was your worst thing at the steelworks? Oh, least desirable thing. The thing I remember most was, so I was an apprentice at the time and I was put on safety duty, given the little air horn. And the high vis told that if people get under where the guys were working overhead changing lights to shout and get them out of the way. But being a bit shy, I wasn't very good at that. And then one of them came over and said, "This just landed on the floor and almost hit me in the head." And it was a really big piece of electrical equipment. It was like really embarrassing. Then I got taken off that job for not shouting enough. Oh. Things I liked. The manliness. The chips. In the canteen. And the cats. And just the general image. I like the steelworks. Very black and sooty, but nice. And the danger money. I like the danger money. And the fact it was a consistent place every day. Do you gain useful skills at your apprenticeships? Yes. Harsh chalk. Very useful. But you keep learning afterwards. I once worked a foundry arc first. It ran at 48 volts, something like 1,000 amps. They would move the electrodes together to strike the arc and then move them apart to keep the arc going. I wonder if they can superimpose high voltage onto ignite, but it's quite complex. Gonna have to look that up now. Being just an apprentice in that era, it was more or less just a case of marveling at the machines and helping repair cranes and things like that. But just as the apprentice, I didn't really know much about the technical aspect of it. I did try with the Chromebook, I did try a separate webcam in the past. It didn't kind of really work out that well. Junkus Buffonius, I worked in shipbuilding, only done brief stints in shipyards repairing stuff. Lots of mercury kicking around too. Don't remember the mercury. Other than in electrical equipment, there was mercury switches. Thatcher killed British Steel. She did much more than that. It was Thatcher who closed the steelworks. And that's proud. But something that people don't discuss is the fact that all the steelwork cats, because there were a lot of them, there was a whole colonies of cats in the steelworks that kept the rodents down. They were appreciated. People petted and fed the cats. Even EJ Steel & Co. electrical engineers, their main, they had a site office in Ravenscraig Steelworks. It had a cat. But once Thatcher had shut them all down, suppose some people adopted some of the cats, but the other ones went feral, and they had to actually send extermination companies in to get rid of them. They don't really think about that aspect. Filthy job, Steel Foundry, but the boots were good. Yes, Mondo Daps Brush. The workwear was all good because it was being used in the correct environment. There was dust everywhere in the foundry. Light was weird because the dirty lights, skylights, taught smoke. One of the jobs that I did, the one that I got in trouble for because not getting people away from under where they were working, was the conversion of the old mercury lights to high pressure sodium. It made it a lot brighter, but you know, the soot and dust gets on everything. Really, the lamps need cleaned a lot. I was talent spotted at the Steelworks, Martin Bamforth, I will not lie. Even though didn't know I was gay at that point in time. Pretty obvious, really, in hindsight, but you know what? That's what happens. So the stream is another 9 minutes to go. So Thatcher was indeed a cat killer. I get paid lots of danger money work at a chemical factory. I used to work at ICI Grangemouth. It was like something out of The Simpsons. I believe now it was a dye plant, but there was just like brightly coloured puddles everywhere, a bit like a bright green puddle, a bright pink one, a blue one, a yellow one. It was just all these puddles of random colours. I got I guess probably, because, well, it was to stop your head getting dyed by all the dust. I was given a cap there, which I still have, but unfortunately, I didn't know the skip inside was it was a work cap. The skip inside was cardboard. It didn't take well to being washed, but it was nice having one of the official working caps. Thank you, Squeak. Someone broke a Mercury Bridge rectifier at the arcade. Like, what size of Mercury rectifier? Are we talking big tube or are we talking the huge globe one? I worked at an acid factory. That was a bit risky. DCL. Someone I worked with, he was working as a maintenance electrician in a factory that made record players in the old days. And he went to fix a damaged socket and then woke up, having been thrown by the electric shock, lying just on the edge of a big vat of acid built in the floor because they dipped things in to strip the metal. Close call. Wish I get paid danger money, says Acolyte. Well, do a dangerous job and you get danger money. It was a cover-up for a drug-making plant. Looks like a cliche chemical plant. Jonas. ICI had a good logo. It's a very simple logo, Electron Box. Did you say Grangemouth? I stay 5 minutes away from there. Yes, Stephen D. Brown. ICI Grangemouth and also Marshall's Chunky Chicken in sort of at the end of the M8 in Edinburgh. Worked in lots of places. Worst place I worked at was at Daloon's Indian Food Factory. Gross, I lasted 1 day. Oh. What did you do there, Gazarus? No more cruelty to cat stories. No, the rest of the video was all about happy joy-joys for the same cats. But I do remember the first week of the apprenticeship, I was petting this cat in the steelworks, Glengarnock Steelworks, and one of the guys said, I've never ever seen anybody pet that cat before it. Normally it's really shy and doesn't let people near it. Let me near it. Let me pet it. Mercury arc. You get old rectifiers. Used to be a big, huge... Well, you get two type of Mercury rectifiers, I think. You get the huge, massive ones, which at first day of the steelworks again. DC Hall, it was a huge Mercury rectifier, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't even realise it was glass because it was covered in dust and a bit black and sooty. It looked metallic. I thought it was a big metal turbine. I just didn't know. It was connected to a substation that supplied the AC to the rectifier and then got distributed around the steelworks as 500 volts DC from big Frankenstein switches, and we were installing it from another steelworks because it was more reliable than new stuff. But that's the traditional, like, big Mercury rectifier. But you also get Mercury tubes, which are about that tall, that diameter, which just, it's the same thing but in a convenient small tube form. Worst factory I've been ever seen for dirtiest lighting made glass bottles. I'd be worried about the glass dust as well. Big kill switches, just big knife switches. I wouldn't call them kill switches, Weasel Box. They were on slate panels as well, but they'd put plastic guards in front of them to make them safer and more modern. Autistic people don't scare animals, probably because we don't make eye contact with them, nuts and proud. I don't think I've seen these smaller Mercury tubes. Oh yeah, the big boy rectifier. How did they break it? What were they doing? That's irreplaceable. Not just Frankenstein switches, but the big, huge meters with the curvy dials, the needles in them. They look proper Frankenstein era. It was ancient. Was a mechanic at a chicken processor from Live to KFC. It was was interesting. Yes, one day only. It's just a bit gruesome. Marshall's Chunky Chicken, the conveyor belt, the chicken going along and just past all the factory workers, and at the end it's just the feet left dangling from it. It was very odd. Compressed air in glass bottle factory, noisy, and when the air fails, bursty. Pipes popping out, yeah. Sudden screeching, hissing noises. The stream will end in a woofle in 4 minutes. Our Frankenstein switches are mounted in marble panels. Marble? Joe Mitchell Tree. I saw someone posted a picture in a technical forum of a elevator controller, and right at the bottom for changing mode there was a wee knife switch. Quite cute. With live connections all in its vicinity. That's what happens. Well, don't touch them then. Stephen Wraith, my dad worked at a place that was live pig to multiple pork products. I mean, pork is tasty, still ate it. Even seeing the chicken being processed didn't put me off chicken. Every bit of the chicken is used, even the pecker. More than that, down to the aardvarks. They took specific bits out and they were sent to chemical labs, for pharmaceutical labs, for processing into some specialist thing. Menk and Co, I am still here, but only for 3 minutes longer. Hope you did well in the pub quiz. Knife goes in, guts come out. Have you seen the automated carving machines that just basically scan sheep and then the robots go in and just carve all the bits out of them? Guns the Great. I worked in a high voltage lab called the Frankenstein Lab. It was used to film the 1936 film. There was no need to change a lot of the high voltage stuff because it's just super long lasting. Chicken are animals and delicious. They are. Weezer Box, the old hotel I interned at, had the oldest elevator working in the city. It was funky. I have to say the old elevators outlast modern elevators significantly because all you have to do to get them working again is clean the electrical contacts. And sometimes they start up with a sort of jolt and they stop with a jolt, but they work really well and there's nothing to go wrong with them. They're super serviceable. And then Health and Safety gets involved and they say, oh, you've got to update it, and then you end up with an unreliable one. Honkler Etta, I'm late. You are. 1 minute to go. And that's even going on a bit longer. The throat's going a bit hoarse. Of all the parts you've worked with, what was the one you were happiest to see the back of when an alternative came along? That's a tricky question, Craig Matthews. What was I glad to see the back of? Do you know what it was? At Hussman, I was glad to see the back of the super duper overcomplicated computerized stuff because when they switched back, they had a renaissance. They went too far with the electronics to the point it was just stacks and stacks of computerized stuff that was just a nightmare. They went back to just contactors and relays and timers. That was a relief when they went back to that. There's a lot to be said for simplicity. Be sure to stay hydrated. I have beer, Joseph. Anyway, the stream is about to end on a whiffle. I will hydrate with beard and then whiffle. Oh, I didn't mention the other thing. The script down in the description down below can be used not just for the Dyson filter, but also you can just type in the size of the hole in here, tell it the size of the hole you want for the fan, tell it the diagonal spacing of the holes, and it will just create all four, and how deep you want the lip, and then you can actually make an adapter that turns this is a wet and dry vacuum cleaner, I believe, or ash vacuum. It turns it into a fan-assisted HEPA filter. Anyway, it is whiffle time, and then the stream ends. And I'm back. I've got loads of new videos, 2 good ones actually, recently, including little heater pouches that came out as a byproduct of that basically carbon film heaters that you can make yourself a laminator. I'm just pouring this stuff everywhere. But I'll be back on Thursday with Patreon, and I'll be back here next week. Where will I be next week? Not sure. I should still be here. Whiffle. Quite big bubbles because all the liquid has just leaked out the bottom. Oh no. Whiffle. And the stream comes to an end. I shall see you next week. Have a good week and have fun making stuff, taking stuff to bits and just doing general stuff, and the moustache will probably be visible next week. Catch you then. Good night.